It's day 7 of learning how to wheelie on a moped. I didn't stay out there too long today because as soon as I started, I noticed that my wrist is kind of sore. It's definitely from a combination of coming down too hard and pulling back on the handlebars a bunch for hours and hours. But anyways, even though it was sore, I wanted to stay out there for a little while and make sure that I got some practice in. While I was out there today, there was a lot of 1 foot and no foot wheelies going on, as well as a lot of looping out. My goal today was to do less under rotating and power wheelies and try to over rotate more often and get used to using that brake to save me and bring me back down. And I was having such a hard time keeping both feet on the bike today that at some point I decided to just give into it and try to purposefully do 1-footed wheelies. I figured if I could at least get consistent with doing it with the same foot coming off instead of just randomly taking a foot off, that would be some progress. There's a few things I'm noticing about using a variated moped that are not ideal for doing wheelies. One thing that tends to happen is if I don't get a really good entry and I try to chase the wheelie, the RPMs end up increasing, which end up shifting gears, and then I'm not in the right power band to bring the wheel back up. The other thing, which is more of an issue with the Hobbit and less so with the Chow, is the rear brake not being strong enough. I've noticed with the Hobbit it's actually best if I hold a little bit of rear brake before I even enter the wheelie. So I'm squeezing the rear brake lever just enough to give it some friction, but not so much that it's actually slowing me down. And holding the lever like that definitely made the rear brake feel way more responsive, so I kind of wish that I found that out earlier. That's also an issue with switching between bikes, especially before you really know what you're doing. It makes it hard to get a consistent feel for what the brake is and the throttle feels like. So on one hand, switching bikes is not a good idea, but on the other hand, using the Hobbit has felt pretty good because it's a lot less twitchy than the Chow. You kind of have to exaggerate your movements a little bit more with the Hobbit, whereas with the Chow, you got to be a little more precise. Besides a couple of decent 1-footed ones, I didn't feel like I made much progress today. But again, my wrist being sore kept me from staying out there for too long. I did pick up some things like make sure to keep my body wider and holding on to that rear brake like I said, so I'm going to go into tomorrow with those things in mind, and hopefully I'll be able to get a lot closer. And in a few days, I'll be back on the Chow, guys. Anyway, follow to see how long it takes me to learn how to wheelie on a moped.